Welcome everyone to another episode of PMCC's Future of Project Management. So today you might see a new face, and he is David, all the way from Boston. Hi, David. Thank you for joining
Hi,
us.
great to
Hi.
be here.
All right. And then sitting on the other side of the world, we have our very own Dr. Vahid, who is currently residing in Canada, as you guys might already know in our previous videos. Hi, Dr. Vahid.
Hi, Carmen. Hi, David. I'm Vahid from PMCC, working as project planner. We'll have a very interesting topic with David today to discuss about the ChatGPT and the application of AI in project planning and control.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Vahid. So, David, could you perhaps introduce to us what you do and a little bit of yourself?
Sure. My name is David Kasperzak. Probably easier if you just say David K. I have been in project management or controls since coming out of college 25 years ago. I've worked in government agencies, primarily working for defense contractors here in the United States, but also IT organizations and PMOs as well. And for the last 4.5 years, I've worked for a company that consults in those things. And like everybody else, about 3 months ago, I stumbled across ChatGPT, and I thought this is going to be revolutionary. And so far it has been. And here I am talking to folks on the other side of the world about those exact same things.
Thank you for that. So let's jump right in. What do you guys think are some of the latest developments in artificial intelligence that are relevant to what you are doing, project planning, as well as project controls? And how do you think they are impacting the field, as well as how they will be impacting the field?
Well, yeah, I think you can't ignore ChatGPT right now. That's been the biggest thing in every headline for a few months. And what I notice myself and what I see other people doing are creating templates, one for all the documentation that we have to do, where we have to teach, we have to train, we have to write policies and procedures. It can draft all those things really well. What I think is beginning to happen, there are a few commercial vendors doing this. They're bringing the OpenAI API into spreadsheet applications. And we know Microsoft is going to import this into its MS Office suite, which will also mean Excel. And I think you'll eventually get to the point where you're not learning complex Excel syntax in order to get the formulas that you want. You're just simply going to describe something, sort, filter, organize, arrange, and sum this, and just use natural language without having to learn syntax. And I think that will be a phenomenal boon.
I totally agree with David.
How do you guys see AI or ChatGPT specifically changing the way that projects are being planned as well as controlled?
I think there's, in the very near term, more simple repetitive projects. If you're doing software implementations and upgrades and those sort of things are easier because you have to remember what ChatGPT was trained on. It's basically information off the web. If you're working in nuclear or energy, if you're working in shipbuilding, construction, defense, where, my background, some of those are even classified. And certainly even if they're not, there's not a whole lot of data to train the bot on, not yet. So in the near term, I think the biggest impact will be on relatively simpler projects or those that are more commonly performed. What I think is going to be really interesting is as they license the technology, as you're able to bring generative AI within your company firewalls and protect your information, you might start to see the collective knowledge base of a whole company being used to train the tool. And then you can start conceivably generating more complex schedules because you have a bigger base to draw from.
Yeah, to add on that, I can say AI is already changing the way that projects are planned. And I believe that the greater impact is coming. Let's say about the improved collaboration. So in future, we will have more tools that using AI for improving collaboration and communication between the project teams. As a result, we can remove and reduce some errors for data entry in the project. Let me give you an example of project planning and control. We always get the data from site team, from engineers to plug in into Primavera. If these data are already checked by AI and the manual errors are highlighted, so we can rely on the data entry more. And also AI can help us with automation of some routine tasks. For example, sending a reminder email or follow up with the project team. And at the end, I can say when it comes to AI at ChatGPT, we are always waiting for a real-time monitoring, the real-time monitoring that AI devices. But I don't think it will be in near future that some Internet of Things or devices at site can get the real-time data, and we can have a continuous monitoring. If we have a continuous monitoring, the project risks, the project progress, the status can be clear to show us what are the bottleneck at site that happening. So I think these are the aspects that AI will help project control and management in future.
You guys have also mentioned some of the benefits of AI already in terms of the collaboration, as well as other things that it can assist in project planning as well as controls. Then what do you think are some of the biggest benefits of AI that you've already seen playing out in practice?
Well, I think we have to parse it into three forms of AI. There's causal AI that detects data patterns. There's generative AI, which is what ChatGPT is, and then there's predictive AI. Right now, in my world, they're just beginning, so we really haven't seen too much. And as Dr. Vahid mentioned, we're really looking to the future, where causal AI is better able to detect patterns, use natural language to generate reports, charts, graphs, warning indicators, and then use predictive AI to say, right, based on the past, here's what we think is going to happen in the future. It's conceivable that you could have project schedules automatically adjusting, resources automatically being reallocated, but I think we're very, very far away from having databases and the computational power to do that.
Exactly, David. I believe that in future we are going to see the impact of AI, but currently we don't have so many impact that AI is doing for project management or project controls. Yeah, in near future, the main impact that we will see is the smarter decisions by project managers. AI can help us to make smarter and faster decisions. Recently, there are handbooks, there are manuals that how to implement the AI in your projects is coming out. But until now, we didn't really implement AI in project management.
Since you guys also mentioned about how currently it has not been integrated in what you do by a very significant amount. So in the future, what do you think could be some threats or challenges that's associated with AI in terms of integrating it to what you're doing? And how do you think these should be addressed?
Sensitive and proprietary info are probably the biggest challenges. If the application remains web-based, there are just things you will never put out on the web. If the licensing and ability of enterprise AI comes inside the firewalls I was mentioning earlier, that will be revolutionary, because now we're not reliant on generic web data for routine projects. We're doing very specific things based upon our company history and knowledge base.
Yeah, and we also have to mention about the lack of when it comes to AI, there is one general issue with that. It's a lack of transparency. We know that AI models, they're usually based on white box and black box model. When it comes to the more complex project, we are using black box model because it's stronger in solving the model. So the black box, we don't know how the decision is generated in the black box. There is an algorithm. So a challenge that we will have is the lack of transparency in the AI model. And AI will gather a lot of information from site, from client, from project team. And when there is a vast amount of data, it's attractive for cyber criminals. And we have to take care of cybersecurity, that maybe project team, they don't have the background about the cybersecurity. And these two comes to my mind, that we have to think about the transparency and the cybersecurity risks in future.
Besides that, how do you see it impacting the role of a project manager or project planner? And how do you think project management professionals can protect themselves or stay relevant with the technology such as AI as they boom?
Well, I think the biggest impact, until we get to that far off place where it's able to generate a completely resource loaded and time phased schedule, the first draft of things is where it excels. Again, it's using predictive text essentially, on a really, really powerful machine, but it's just using this training data plus your prompt to determine what the output should be based on the context. Currently, we already know that project plans and all those initial documents, digesting proposal material, creating the first rough draft of a schedule, it can do all that, but it's usually not 100% right. And that's where the person comes in. I think that's where the person is always going to come in, is you can get, like I mentioned, hours to minutes to seconds for that first draft, but then you need experts who can check on it to make sure it's right. And even more importantly, that it suits the exact specific context. I know from watching your videos, it always comes up, every project is unique, and they absolutely are. And it's that, that last 5% at the end that will cause everything to fail. And that's where you need the people.
When we are working with AI, actually, we are working with data and training the data. So AI tools will generate a lot of information and data from communication, collaboration, project teams. And one of the skills that the project managers, I believe, need to work on, project managers, project control and planning, they need to learn about data analysis. For data analysis, and to be more specific, machine learning, NLP, we will learn that how we can interpret the data that we receive, because a big amount of data will be confusing for everyone. And I believe that data analysis and machine learning is also the two aspects of AI that we need to learn as a project control in near future.